Hi guys, I'm PieGuy314159, and now that I have finally managed to XC all of DDR Extreme JP on Stealth, what I thought I'd do is I would make a little video and just show you how it's done. Now, right off the bat, I should say this, that because everyone's brain is different, what works for me might not work for everybody, but, if you think it would be cool to play something on Stealth or backwards or blindfolded, whatever, but the thought of memorizing a whole chart is daunting to you, I can give you some tips, some advice that'll probably make it seem a lot less scary. So with that out of the way, here we go. So your first step is choosing a song to learn. Now, where you want to start kind of depends on how ambitious you are. If all you want is just to have something that you can play on Stealth, you might be better off starting with something nice and easy. But if you want to go crazy and eventually learn a whole bunch of stuff, maybe consider starting on the harder end. Because that way, you can kind of give your brain more time to absorb the harder stuff so it becomes second nature to you. And then you can focus on learning other songs without having to worry about forgetting what you learned before. Now, when I say easy and hard songs, I'm not talking about their foot rating. I mean easy and hard to memorize. And to judge that, you really need to see the actual chart. So you can either preview it in game mode by just playing through it normally, or you can do it in training mode. You can just see it on the left there, and skim through it and think to yourself, does this look easy to memorize? The big thing I look for when judging that is repetition of patterns. And we can see a lot of that in a song like, for example, Mikeneko Rock. So if we look at the chart, so there's the intro, okay, here's first verse, da 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 da. Da 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 da. Notice that those 4 bars there, so from there to there, 7 to 11, and then 11 to 15, those are the exact same notes, at the exact same pattern. And notice it's starting to repeat again a third time. Da 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 da. Okay, good so far. Next verse is a new pattern. Da 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 da. Again, it repeats. Da 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 da, repeats the first bit, da 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 da. And that bit there at the end, that's the exact same as the da 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 from the first verse. So already we're seeing tons of repetition here, so this looks like a really easy Stealth for us. On the other hand, let's go to something like memories. Look at the chart, what do we see? Da 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 da. Okay, we're seeing chaos right off the bat. Okay, so now these rhythms are not consistent at all, and the step charts are just going all over the place. So we got chaos there, then straight 8th notes, then more chaos, and there's a break. Okay, so memories is looking to be a really hard one to memorize, and indeed, I was really scared of it. I procrastinated. And when I actually went for it, it was no picnic. But Mikeneko seemed pretty easy, so let's go with that. Okay, so I picked my song. Now, how am I going to go about trying to memorize this thing? Well, the natural approach would be to do it piece by piece. So I go into training mode, and I set it up to just practice certain sections that I want to practice. So for Mikeneko Rock, you got the 4-bar intro. That's a good place to start. So I go to that section. It's bar 3 through 7. So I can see the chart. So it goes do 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 do, and then scroll ahead do 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 do. Okay, so notice that's just doing the same thing but on the other side. Okay, so da 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 da, and da 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 da. Okay, I think I got that down. See if we can do it maybe over here without looking. Da 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 da. Okay, so I got that. Now let's try actually running it, making sure Stealth is on. Okay, I got that. Now I'll try it again. Okay, so I got that. And if you don't get it right away, you just kind of go back, look at it again, and then just keep doing that until you can do the section. And you can full combo the section a couple of times in a row. Okay, so got the first section down, so let's move on to the next section. The first verse, do 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 do, and as we mentioned before, this verse is just 4 bars that repeat. So okay, let's do the same thing again. Da 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 da. Okay, so can I just do that much? That bit, the 4 bars, and then the repetition. Do that twice. Okay, it's gonna run it. So now let's do it. And again. Okay, I got that. So then I would run that again. Make sure I've got that part down. Now, so I've got 2 sections down. Now what I would do is you would put them together. Not only so that you can not forget the first section, but also so that you can do the second section in context. Because in the song, you're not just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, da 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 da, doing that verse. It's going to go from the intro straight into it, and there's no break. So can you blend the sections together? We're going to do them both. In the intro. Now here's the verse. And this one went well. Okay, I got it. And then you would do that over and over again until you've got that part down. Then you move on to another section and another. And you just keep going like that. You just add a section at a time. And making sure to always go back to the old stuff. Eventually, like the D's that you get at first, they'll turn into C's because you're actually doing enough of the song to get the DP you need. And then it turns into a B, and before you know it, you've got the whole song down. So here are some things you can look for in the charts that can make them considerably easier to learn. One of the big things you'll notice is that a lot of songs have pieces that repeat themselves, but like left and right will be switched. So for an example of that, this is La Copa de la Vida. It's 2 bars from La Copa de la Vida. So these 2 bars, 13 through 15. Okay, now the next 2 bars look like this. And you'll notice that this pattern and this pattern, the only difference is that between the two, right arrows become left arrows and vice versa. So if you can recognize that, you can say, oh, okay, so I've got to memorize these 2 bars, so da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and then you just do that same pattern again on the other side of the pad. Well, there you go. You've got 4 bars for the price of 2, essentially. And you'll find that La Copa de la Vida does that a lot, but I would say most, if not all, songs, at least in extreme, they have at least 1 or 2 places that do that. You might also find pieces that instead of just switching left and right, they rotate 180 degrees, or more rarely, they'll swap up and down. Like here in Irresistiblement, we've got this part, and then sometime later, actually 7 bars later, it repeats it again, except now up and down are switched. This case is more dangerous, and you have to be careful. The reason for that is when it's left and right, like if the piece is mostly on the right arrow, you're going to be using your right foot, and for the left arrow, you use the left foot. And it'll, more often than not, it'll flow together really naturally, so it's easy to keep track of where you are. But when it's up and down that are different, left and right are still the same, so you're using the same feet, so it's much easier to forget which version you're currently on. Like, are you on this one that goes to down, or the one before it that went to up? So be careful of that, but of course if you can keep track of that, there you go. Sometimes you'll run across sections which have hidden patterns in them that are revealed if you count them in a different rhythm than you would think to. So as an example of this, this is toward the end of Xenon. It's the part that goes da 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 da. So with the rhythm of the song, you naturally want to count them in 3s. So think about each group of 3. So okay, so it's down, left, right, then it's down, up, left, then it's right, up, down, then it's left, right, down. And it's kind of hard to see any pattern there. It's just kind of going all over the place. But if you count them in 4s instead, watch what happens. So the first group of 4 is down, left, right, down. And the next group is up, left, right, up. And then down, left, right, down again. So all of a sudden, those 12 arrows become much easier to learn if you group them in 4s instead of 3s. I guess a way to kind of spot when that's happening is just look at the arrows themselves, ignore the rhythm, and see if you notice any periodicity. One other piece of advice I can offer is feel free to go all out with crossovers and spins in your routines. If you have a section that playing through it normally, you want to double step it, like maybe you're familiar with crossovers, basic patterns like left up right, left down right, and so on, but maybe this is a more complicated piece that's a long 8-note stream that kind of does what it wants, and doing it in crossovers would involve turning all around and you get dizzy, and it's easier to just double step it. I would encourage you, if you can do it in crossovers, if you can figure out a way to do it with like corkscrews and 360s and whatnot, I'd say do that, because you'll probably find that if you come up with the routine yourself, you'll remember it a lot better than a pattern of just random double steps that don't really have any pattern to them whatsoever. And spins in particular, they can come in really handy. They can take a lot of work out of certain sections. To show you what I mean there, I'm looking at Paranoia, bars 39 through 47. On paper, it looks like a disaster. It's got steps, jumps, streams, more jumps in all random directions. Some of them have crossovers, some of them don't, and you know, how do you even start to learn this? Well, watch how I do it. So what that is you take the first two measures and then you rotate them 90 degrees each time. So instead of trying to remember 8 bars, I only have to remember 2, and then you do it 4 times. Once facing this way, once facing this way, once facing this way, once facing this way. So makes that section a whole lot easier. So yeah, spins can be lifesavers, so don't be afraid to use them. So once you've done the last section in training mode and you're ready to try to run the whole song, because I'm impatient, I just go straight into game mode and go for it there. You might prefer to stay in training mode for a bit so you can practice whatever sections you want to go back to, and also you can see what errors you missed, because if you run a section then you hit check, it takes you to a screen where you can see a detailed breakdown of each step, what rating it got, so you can see where you missed, if anywhere. So do whatever you need to do to make sure you can do every section, and then try to run it in game mode. This stage is the most frustrating part, because in game mode, if you make a mistake, well, you have to start from the beginning just to try again, and because you can't see the chart, you gotta remember that section, remember how it went. It might take a few tries before you finally get it back, and then by that point you might forget another section, and it just keeps going round and round. The key is just to be patient and persevere, because once you get the full combo for the first time, that is such a good feeling, and you've got one successful run under your belt, so from there it's only a small push to get consistent. But you should definitely try to full combo it more than once, and end your session with a successful run. And also, you might find that after you get it a few times, when you just wake up the next morning and you go for it, you'll get it first try. That happens to me a lot. So when you get to that point where you can do it consistently, then congratulations. You've got a song that you can play entirely from memory, or you've got another one to check off your list. So now you have a song completely memorized. The last step would be just don't forget it. And for that, my only advice is just keep practicing. Whenever you go to play DDR, make sure you give your stealth song at least a few run-throughs. That'll also let you maybe iron out any sections that aren't quite up to 100%. You can get them sorted out, and again, just keep practicing. You can even do it away from the dance pad if you have, say, Stepmania. You can run it on your keyboard, or if you're kind of fidgety like me, you can even play on your thumb, like this. Just kind of do. Yeah, just run through it on your thumb, so you can literally practice your stealth anywhere. If you have more than one stealth, I'd say you want to do them about evenly. So what I like to do is I use a random number generator. If I'm bored, let's take this out. I'll go random to 115, 72. Okay, my 70-second stealth song was Happy Wedding. So again, I'll just run through on my thumb. I'll play Happy Wedding. So by doing that, I can go through every song about the same number of times so I don't lose any from lack of practice and have to go through it again in training mode. If you do forget a song or a section, though, don't panic, because you've done it before. You've done the whole song before, so all it should take is a little nudge to get it back. So I guess that's all the tricks I really have for playing on stealth. If you have any tricks of your own, feel free to share them. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and happy stealthing!